Mm, all right. Let's see if this is working. Please excuse me, everyone. This is my first time streaming. I really appreciate everyone's understanding. Uh, I was actually supposed to go on at 7 tonight for streaming live, but here we are, finally. Zoom, zoom, zoom. So, welcome to our first Chips and Clips. Um, yeah, I'm very excited and still just trying to figure out how all of the live works. So, please bear with me. If you have comments, please put them up because I would love to talk with you. That is why I am here. It's all about coming together, and that's one of the things. So, if you don't know me, which you probably don't, my name is Monique Warotny, and I am so excited that you're joining me here today. Obviously, you're new here, like I said. So, this is the first Chips and Clips, and it's all about personal growth and transformation. So, while we're enjoying some homemade chips, ooh, and a non alcoholic drink, of course, this is the time to get inspired. This is the time to come together. And that is why our chip of the day today is time for change. And yes, that's time with a Y because it's in our chips. Let me tell you what we're enjoying today. These truffle herb and black pepper chips are elegant but strong, just like how we want to carry ourselves through change. The truffle gives it this sophisticated taste, while the black pepper keeps it bold and assertive. And our drink, well, it was supposed to be called the Navy Breeze Martini ish, but yeah, it didn't exactly turn out navy. So we'll call it the little red pill because, the whole matrix, blue pill or red pill. Are you ready to take the red pill? So, yeah, non alcoholic because, well, you know what? Sometimes it's better to just go through and improve ourselves instead of drinking at the bar. So that's what we're doing. And that is what we're going through tonight. Tonight, we are talking about change and just what that means for all of us. Okay. If you've been feeling the pull for something more, but feeling stagnant, you're not alone. If you're tired of scrolling, if you're tired of just being tired, if you want to feel alive again, then maybe that's a sign that it's time for some change. And change can be scary. I get it. It's not something that feels comfortable because we like staying in our box. We like staying with the norm. But once you start listening to yourself and start looking at what you really want for yourself, then everything starts to change. So, let's look at our first clip here. Um, yeah, listen, I've lived my life a little bit differently because whenever I felt stuck, I've made the change. That's why I wrote the book, Discover Your 52, just to allow people to make that change for themselves. No one should ever feel stagnant. No one should feel like they're just wasting their life away because we all have something to bring here. We all have a unique perspective on life and one that we should be sharing with each other and lifting each other out and supporting each other. You know, there's a lot of times in my life that I've had to make a change and quit something that maybe I was working for years even, but it just didn't align with who I became as that person then. So I needed to make that change. This has happened with careers. This has happened with relationships. And sometimes, when you grow, you don't grow together. you have sort of a space with it. And like I said, I am new at this, so please excuse me as I look for the chat. And yeah, we're all good. If you have something to say, I'd love to hear from you. So with that, let's go to our first clip.
I was engaged to be married. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but I said no to that. Then I quit at least 3 dream jobs. There was one on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, and there was 2 in the world of publishing. Plus, I kind of even quit another job at Vogue before I even started. I turned that job down in order to start my own business. And I remember part of me just felt awful inside about quitting. I worried that I was just this chronic quitter, that I had serious commitment issues. But here's the truth. My soul was simply not willing to settle for a mediocre life where I felt dead inside. Quitter.
And that's exactly it. So a lot of times when you don't feel aligned with, what you're meant for, then it really feels like you've worked and worked and worked towards something, and then it's just completely gone because it really wasn't what you were meant for. So when you start to put your goals together and your ideal day, get your free chapter in the description. Your ideal day is meant for you. So you have to really think about and really read into yourself for what you want from it. And of course, write that out. Like I said, the Ideal Day free exclusive chapter is available. There's a link in the description. But we are going to move on to Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins has always been a big name. And he writes books that are like this thick in order to make a life change. But here's something that he's saying for just when you're feeling stuck. Because you have to remember, we're not trees. We're able to move. We're able to change. Every second of our life, we have the decision to do something else, to do something different, to pick an apple over a bag of chips, to go and have that conversation with a neighbor and have a coffee instead of staying at home and, or stay at home and read a book. You do what's meant for you at that time in the present. So let's hear from Tony about being stuck.
If you can hunger to grow more, to be more, to give more, to do more, to share more, to become more, then you're never going to be bored, and you're always going to grow, and you're going to have fulfillment, and you're going to succeed. Hunger will make you expand, but in order to be hungry, you got to have something you want more than just yourself. You gotta want to have something to give to your kids or to your husband or wife or to your community or to humanity, not virtue signaling what you tell people, what you do.
So many windows. Thanks for your patience. But that's exactly it. If you don't feel like you're contributing and you're giving to the world, if you're not giving love, if you're not giving kindness, if you're not contributing with your work, you become really stagnant and your energy starts to get lower and unfocused. And, that's what Tony's saying. Go see what you want to discover. Figure out where you want to go and where you want to share your energy, because that's what it is. Now, sign 2 that you're ready for change is maybe you've outgrown some of the people around you. And this totally happens. This doesn't mean that like I said earlier, sometimes you start growing in any type of relationship, but you start growing apart. You start going on different paths. Now, respect, communication, and love definitely keeps those relationships. And it doesn't matter what relationship it is. if it's a relationship between your parent and yourself, your child and yourself, a significant other, anyone in your life, even a cashier at the grocery store, if you have respect and communication, then that love is going to be there. And there's all different types of love, but they each feeds off each other, and you can't have one without the other. So sometimes when we are growing, we have to, say no to the people that are usually around us. For myself, I think of when I went on my van trip. I saw a YouTube of someone going on a van trip, and that's it. Everything changed. And I thank my best friend Britta for introducing me to it. Because one of the things is when you see something and it's like your aha, like, yes, I'm taking action on that. When you're driven, there's nothing else that stays in your way. I was working as a virtual assistant, so I didn't have to be anywhere specific. I bought a 78 GMC Vandura camper van with extended top and ended up going across North America with my dog Charlie when he was with me. And we went across North America for a year. There were certain expectations that I had for the trip that, you know what, I just ended up being present with it. But with the trip, got a little off topic there. With the trip, I went and told my parents, as you do. This is my plan. This is why I bought the van. And now I'm no longer going to be in the house and I'm going to be traveling. And I had just broken up with my ex as well. So it really pieced together. That was also saying goodbye to, someone that you don't grow together with, or someone that maybe wasn't aligned in the first place, but there was a lot of growth. So anyway, I called my parents, and my mom said, you're old enough, you're going to do whatever you want anyways, have fun. All right. But the response from my dad, he was really worried, and rightfully so. He's my father. So he said, I'm just so disappointed, and I can't believe that you're leaving your engineering job, because I was also engineering and virtual assistant. Anyway, he was just, I could hear the fear in his voice for me. And he said, I don't have anything nice to say. I love you, and I will talk to you again. I said, okay. So I love you too, hung up the phone, and I gave it about 10-15 minutes. But then I called back and said, Dad, I realize that you're worried about me and that I'm your daughter, and you'll always see me as your young daughter, but you have to please realize this is something I need to do for myself. So I'm not going against your wishes, but this is something that I feel that I need to do. So that is why I ended up doing it. And I would catch up with my parents and, this is what state I'm in right now. This is what province I'm in. This is who I'm hanging out with, and check in. But in my dad's mind, this murderer was going to go out and start looking in, Crown land just for a van to murder his daughter in. So I took about 2 months, and I was in Texas at the time, and I got a call from my parents, and I'm like, all right, calling straight back. Yep. What's going on? How's it going? And who's dead? What's happened? Because they sort of just let me go and do what I want. So my dad's on the phone. He's like, do you have a second? Of course. I go, he goes, well, I have to say, I'm super proud of you for not listening to me and doing what you wanted to do and moving forward with the van trip, because I tell people what you're doing in the van and they're all, I wish I had the guts to do that. I wish I did that. And that might be a thing that they wish to do, but maybe it's something else that is really pulling at them, but it's that drive to do something that deeply calls for you. And my dad said, you know, all of these guys that I'm talking to that are around his age are saying, wow, I can't believe she's doing that. Like, you must be so proud. So that being told over and over sort of made him realize, you know what, she's taking care of things. I don't need to be so fearful for her and to let her go. So at that point, it wasn't about saying to my dad, you know what, that's it, cut off. It was just, it was not just, it was about saying, I understand where you're coming from, but I need to do this for myself. And a lot of the times when we make decisions for that in our life, we don't have a lot of support. That's why I started the Rise and Thrive group, because it's people that are looking to make a change for themselves and have the support of others. So there's weekly wins and block shattering calls. We just started art therapy, and this is the first chips and clips. But not only that, it's a whole, in the classroom, there's a whole way for you to figure out where you're at, who you are, and what your ideal day is. And nobody's ideal day is the same. Nobody's every day is the same. We've all lived our lives, had different experiences and interactions. And even though a lot of us go through the same things, it's still, we have a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B, and maybe someone has a lot of column A and a little bit of column B. So we all go through things at different times, but sometimes you have to say, I'm going to go and do what I need to, because I know that's what's really pulling at me. Now, the third sign that you are ready for change is that you're overthinking things. You're thinking, wait a sec, this doesn't seem right. Or you're in a room and it's been completely fine, but all of a sudden you're like, oh, I don't like that piece of artwork. I don't like the color of this room. This makes me feel uncomfortable. And it's starting to listen to those little voices in your mind saying, you know what, this needs to be changed. So picture that room, but then start looking at your life in that way. And Gary Vee puts it as a life audit. So let's see what he has to say. And of course, sorry. Oh man. All right, Gary Vee, all right. I apologize. And that's what happens sometimes. Yay, technology. All right, here we go. Nope.
And who you hang with. If you hang out with people that are
Yeah. We'll start you again.
audit the fucking shit out of what you consume and who you hang with. If you hang out with people that are complaining all the time, you become a complainer. I even think about the 3 guys that I'm traveling with on this trip, and do I think that all of them are happier, more motivated, hungrier, and more capable emotionally because they're around me all the time? Yes, I do. And I think I am that way because I was around my parents. Because I think there's a direct correlation of what you fucking consume to who you are.
I feel that I need so many more screens in here to do this, but we're figuring it out as we go. And thanks for being here for the first, chips and clips. So that's exactly it. It's figuring out what you need for yourself. It's remembering that, what feels right and what doesn't. And I did pass over one thing because I got all into my van story, and that was Layla Hermosi's clip talking about people that, for support and who you really need support with. So let's take a clip from that.
Lots of people say, well, I need support from my spouse. I need support from my friends. No, you don't. You need support from yourself. But the support you give yourself is so weak that you rely on other people for it right now. Nobody can support you more than you support yourself. And so first and foremost, fuck what everybody else is saying about you and how they're judging you. Focus on, how do I support myself, and do I like who I am?
And that's the big question. Do you like who you are? Do you feel that you are living to your best potential? And yes, not every day is sunshine and rainbows. Let's knock that right out, okay? Everyone has ups and downs. But what are you able to do for yourself right now to best support yourself? Maybe it's making homemade potato chips and falling down that rabbit hole like I did. Maybe it's to, go for a walk for 20 minutes and get outside and enjoy the beautiful weather, or stay inside and relax, because that's what you need. It's about giving ourselves grace, giving ourselves support for what we need in that moment. Because as much as we could have supportive people around us, if we're not looking at ourselves and supporting ourselves, then there's no way that we can move on. We're not marionettes, Our body is, because everything's up here in our mind, but we are the ones that are moving forward. And if we're not feeling that for ourselves, then, we're not going to. So, sign number 4, small compromises that you usually make feel like betrayals to yourself. This is a huge thing for change. Trusting your intuition, and sometimes you say yes when you really mean no. When you're saying no, that is, you need to say no sometimes in order to say yes to the things that matter. If you are a constant yes and people pleaser, trust me, I've done it for years. I am a recovering people pleaser. But now I think, if this is actually my yes, if this is what I want, or if it's just as a thing to resonate to people and be like, oh yeah, no, I'm totally in. And sometimes saying those yeses, it's because you might be afraid to move on. Just drop a fire if you've ever faked being okay with something, or said yes to something that, you're feeling it, and it's not the right thing, but you're like, oh, I should, because then it'll help them out. Yeah, no. This is time for yourself to really look at if this is what you want or not. So, yeah. Sign 5, you're secretly excited about the what if. Now, I've told this story during an interview about dodgeball. I went to play adult dodgeball, and I was so in my car, just worked up in my head, and excitement is so on the bridge of fear, and it's figuring out, or anxiety, let's say, because it's figuring out which way you're going to go with it. It really is one path and then a split. So I was in my car thinking, okay, I hope I don't make a fool of myself. Oh, what if people are going to be so much more athletic than I am? What if? And all of those what ifs were all in my head. It's not anything factual that has happened. I hadn't even stepped into the gym yet. I knew a couple people I was playing with, coworkers at the time, and there was no other hard evidence of what was about to happen until I stepped out of my car and made it happen. And during that entire year, I had a blast. And it was just sort of that fear of the unknowing, the uncomfortableness, and saying, no, I'm going to turn this around. And no, I'm here for a good time. I've already driven here. What am I doing sitting in my car? It's time to move forward. And at that time, it was nice because I had the support of the coworkers as well to be around and, you know, encourage each other, because we're just a bunch of adults playing dodgeball. What's the big deal? But yet again, that anxiety or fear is so close to excitement that you really need to turn it around. And how do we do that? Well, this is going to show us exactly how to do that.
Anxiety and anxiousness is a sister emotion to excitement. Okay, so when you think about when you're anxious, what happens in your body? You get little butterflies in your stomach, you start to kind of sweat, you get a little bit of dry mouth, you feel a little bit hot and sweaty. That's anxious.
Your heart's like
Your heart's
doing
going.
palpitations.
Now explain excitement to me.
Yeah, exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
In your body,
Yeah.
anxiety and excitement feel very similar. The cousin or sister emotion, is there a way to reframe how you're viewing your own anxiety as potential excitement? And here's what they did. They took people and they had them come into the lab and they gave them a task. They had them sing Don't Stop Believing into a karaoke machine. But they had 3 different groups.
Okay.
The first group walked in, sung the song, done, control group. Second group walked in and they had to say, I'm anxious, out loud, and then sing. And the last group had to say, I'm excited, and then sing the song. That's it, just saying those words. Of course, the I'm excited group outperformed, outsung, and actually enjoyed the experience more than the group that just said, I'm anxious. This is, I think, such good news. It means that we are in control of how we view our own anxiety, our own awkwardness. I view my awkwardness as a very powerful vulnerability. I do not view my awkwardness as a liability anymore. And I would say the same thing. If you're anxious or you're nervous or you're lacking confidence, what is the flip side to that? Is it that your anxiousness could be excitement? Use that adrenaline. Is it that your awkwardness could be a real vulnerability to find other fellow recovering awkward people?
Right.
That was why in my videos, I decided to put my awkwardness forward. It's the same thing. I don't want you to fake it till you make it. I want you to show up anxious and awkward and learn how to use it.
Well, if that doesn't exactly explain this first chips and clips, use that anxiousness, use the technology that is just going everywhere right now, but just try your best and take the excitement of it out. And I am really excited. I'm excited for talking with everyone. I'm excited for when my streams go and start reaching people and people start being encouraged. There's been so many times in the past that on a Friday night, I worked food and beverage for over 20 years. That's on top of my day jobs. Until my last job, I've always had 2 or 3 jobs at the same time. Why? Well, there's a lot of reasons. I was always striving for something more and I wanted the extra money to bring me there, even though sometimes it wasn't even about money. It was just about putting it out there. And I enjoyed the interaction with people. But with that, I also do not have a healthy relationship with alcohol, which is why I have stopped. That's why non-alcoholic drinks here on Chips and Clips. And taking the time for ourselves to do something like this, to go out of our box, to talk with people that are hopefully going to watch this at some point. And if not, it's all good. If this isn't your cup of tea, no worries. And if you want to have a drink while watching and informing yourself as well, that's great. My big question is, what's one thing that's holding you back from your change? What's one thing that is holding you back from going for that pull that is inside you for doing something more? What does your ideal day look like? Because everyone's is different. I'd love to talk to you about it. Please DM me. And yeah, I'd love your feedback as well. So with that, it's a shorter chips and clips tonight. Yeah, well, it also started late due to technology, but we got things figured out. And next time it will be a lot more smoother. Cross your fingers. Until then, please like, comment, subscribe. If you're looking for support in change in your life, any sort of change, career, moving, just wanting to learn something new and bring that into your life. Our community is one that really brings each other up and helps each other strive for those. If you're wanting to run your first 5K, why not talk to a person that's ran a marathon? Because then they're able to guide you with that and help you with that. And yeah, tell you all the ups and downs. Because yet again, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but we're going to make the best of it while we're here. Yet again, please comment below, and I would love to talk with all of you. Until our next chips and clips on confidence, I will see you then. And if you're part of the Rise and Thrive community, that's where you'll find the recipes for tonight's time for change potato chips, and no longer the blue martini-ish, or the navy breeze martini-ish. No. Now it's the red pill, because it's definitely time for change. Talk to you all then, and yeah, keep striving for your best.